Let's talk about how to plan a good video lab report and, separately, how to create a good video lab report. Of these two, the planning is by far the most important part. Before you start recording your lab report, you should figure out what your main results are, what physics concepts you want to cover, and the relationships between the physics concepts and your results. You should plan out what you want to say. You'll definitely want to write down at least an outline, and possibly a whole word-by-word script. You will have a 5-minute time limit, which you will need to stick to. When your peers watch your video, they will give you a 1-minute grace period if you go over time. After that, they're free to stop watching and evaluate just the stuff they watched. Communicating a few main ideas in a short and concise talk is an important skill which we hope to help you develop in this course. The rubric will generally tell you what you need to include in your report, but how you spend your time connecting the dots is up to you. The methodology of each of these labs doesn't change much from assignment to assignment. You'll typically record video of moving objects in your environment, analyze the motion in Tracker, and create a computer model of the motion you observed. So don't spend too much time describing details. It's far more important to spend time discussing the comparison between your observations and your model. Here are some examples of good points to cover. If you have to change some parameter in your model to fit your observations, what is the physical significance of that parameter? Conversely, if your model doesn't match up with your observations, no matter what parameters you choose, why doesn't it work? If you're working with two models, does one model work better than the other in describing a particular set of observations? If so, then why does one work better than the other? Decide ahead of time what format you want your video to be in. You can simply talk into your webcam or smartphone camera in a single continuous take. You can turn on a screen recording program and talk into your computer's microphone as you present things on the screen. Or you can do a combination of these things and combine footage from your webcam, your phone's camera, and your screencast in post-production. Just decide ahead of time exactly what footage you want to take. Also, bear in mind that if you plan to do your whole video in one shot, you'll almost inevitably end up doing several takes. Even expert speakers sometimes have trouble going 5 whole minutes without making a single mistake. At the end of this video, we'll link to some guides for capturing screencasts. As always, you can also check the forums to ask questions and to seek advice. Be sure to pick the right sort of footage for the right purpose. Screencasting is great for showing computer code, but a handheld camera is much better if you want to draw a figure on a piece of paper. If you want to show some lines of code, the very best thing to do is to make the font large and capture your screen directly. Pointing a camera at your computer screen rarely works well for showing text. Make sure your smartphone camera or your webcam is steady and in focus. When you're recording your video, it's pretty easy to make sure your video footage is good. What's perhaps more difficult is making sure your audio is good as well. You can often see the video as you're recording it, but all you can hear is yourself. Before every recording session, record yourself speaking for a few seconds and check the video and audio for clarity. Record in horizontal or landscape orientation, not vertical or portrait orientation. You'll end up uploading your video to YouTube, and that's the orientation it expects. If you need to combine multiple shots in a single video, try using iMovie on a Mac or Windows Movie Maker on a Windows PC. There are some good guides linked at the end of this video. Don't get too flashy with fancy transitions. They can be distracting and can eat up a lot of your valuable presentation time. Create an account on YouTube. You've already got one if you have a Google account. And upload your video. Make sure the video is set to public or unlisted in the privacy settings. If it's private, then your peers will be unable to watch it. Once your video is on YouTube, watch it from beginning to end. Make sure there are no problems with it before you submit the link to Coursera. You are not under any obligation to identify yourself in your video lab reports. You do not need to use your real name or show your face. You do not have to use your usual Google account when you upload your videos. You can create a separate one just for this purpose. You do not even need to use your own voice. It is fine to just put text on the screen instead of speaking. Even if you do choose to identify yourself by name in these videos, we will not identify you by name if we decide to use your video or bits of your video for demonstration purposes. In the next lecture, we'll put these ideas into action and critique a couple of example videos together.